There has been a number of significant changes to the work visa space in the past few months, with some big changes still to come. Now, we're going to try and cover them to some degree in this video, looking at what's taken place and what's in place now and what is going to come in the next few months into next year, and probably be of use for you whether you are a migrant to be, or an employer. This is all probably going to affect you at some point. My name is Arran Hunt. I'm a partner here at the law firm Stace Hammond, where I head up the immigration team, which of course is ever growing. Now, as always, this is not legal advice. This is just our commentary on immigration here in New Zealand. If you're looking for legal advice, please get in contact with us through the website or through the email address advice@shlaw.co.nz. Now, this is going to be a longer video than usual, so we'll put up time tags in the description as to you can jump to the section that you're looking for. Several of these changes aren't going to appear yet in the operational manual, being the on-site, online set of rules Immigration New Zealand follows. So I will also add references to the amendment circulars that do cover these that have been released so far. And we are going to look through a few of those, as well as a few websites in the Beehive press releases, to see what's coming up. And of course, get in contact with us if we can be assistance in any way. Now, we may actually release these as shorter videos as well, because there's going to be one long video, might sort of break it up. So if you do see this video again, but in a shortened version, we apologize. If you want to watch it again, but that is why we sort of release them. I'm going to break them up just because it's going to be a lot of work visas, which might not appeal or apply to a lot of you. Now, these changes are all based on the idea that that New Zealand needs to upskill its local workforce and stop relying on migrants as much. Now, however, for many migrants and as well as many employers, this has all come at a horrible time. We've already seen the government back down on several changes in the past few months, or at least reduce the impact of those changes. But there will be more to come, and we may see some of the changes we're going to talk about today may actually not come through, or they may be altered in some way. Some of these were coming through, and as part of the Honourable Chris Fafoi's regime when he was Immigration Minister, and now that we have the Honourable Michael Wood as the Immigration Minister, he is making some changes that are hopefully more migrant friendly, worth to come and see. But you may see these things change in the next few months. We're also going to be covering the impact also on, of course, partners of work visa holders in this video. We'll touch on that a few times through this video, and we'll see how that's going to be impacting you. Now, we'll start off with the post-study work visa. Now, up until recently, there has been this pathway to a work visa and hopefully onto residence through study, with those who were applying for as low as sort of NZQA level 4, having some sort of eligibility when it came to a work visa after their study was completed. And of course, the government was offshore before the lockdown, selling this approach as a way to bring migrants and investments and student money into the country. Now, this all changed last week. We have a look now at what we've got here, and this is some of the changes. This is the Amendment Circular 2022-48. It's the 48th change to the rules this year, which I think is a record now. And this means that the post-study work visas are now restricted to a much smaller group of individuals. However, it will only apply to those who gained a student visa after 11 May 2022, and also those who held a student visa on that date and apply for a post-study visa prior to 11th of May 2025, which will probably be, if you're on a student visa right now, then most likely this won't apply to you. If you are applying for a student visa now, or you've applied for one recently since May, then these rules will then apply. So those of you who actually entered into the country under a critical purpose visa for the purpose of studying, these rules won't apply to you. The old rules will still apply, and they're still visible on the INZ website for the operational manual. So the new rules are those who have successfully completed level 9 or 10, so sort of master's or doctorate, and studied full-time for at least 30 weeks will be continuing eligibility for that 3-year post-study work visa. Now, those who completed level 8 or a level 7 bachelor's degree again at least with 30 weeks full-time, will be eligible for a post-study work visa of the same duration as the time they spent studying that qualification. So getting something done quicker may limit actually the length of the student visa you get after you're finished. One issue here is that the rules do not put a maximum on this, but there is sort of a mention in the notes that there is a maximum of 3 years, and there is depending on how you read the rules, it could be interpreted as being a 3-year maximum. When you look at the definition here for consecutive qualifications, the 3-year maximum, I think that's what they're sort of looking there as applying. So you have a maximum. So if you are going to go and do a conjoint with a 4 or 5 year degree, you're not going to get a 4 or 5 year work visa. We're maxed out at 3 years. Now, those studying at level 7 for non-degree qualifications are eligible for a post-study work visa of the same length as your study. There is a minimum study period, but it needs to be full-time study. Finally, there is an allowance for non-degree qualifications at level 8 or below where occupational registration or affiliate membership is required for that occupation. There is some missing clarity here in the rules. It isn't really that clear in what this 1 and 2 here are in reference to. There is sort of several things up here with 1 and 2 in them, but they don't really, it's not really a tight fit. It doesn't really make sense as to what that means. So we're going to get clarity around that. The idea, though, is that the period of the study plus another year is granted as a post-study work visa for those who have a qualification that appears in the third column of the qualifications eligible for a post-study work visa list, being this column that appears down on the right-hand side here. With that extra year being there to help you to gain that registration or that experience required for that registration. Now, this appears in Appendix 13. Now, those of you who are familiar with how things work with immigration will know that Appendix 13 is also known as the Green List, something which we'll come back to later several times in this video. However, here we are looking at an addition to the Green List. It's sort of like the Green List Part 2. We have no idea why they need to make it, its own appendix in its own right, because it's not directly related to the Green List. But they have decided to make this as an addendum or a second part to Appendix 13, just to be confusing, it seems. It does cover a small number of roles that don't require bachelor degrees. So this includes some roles like dairy cattle farmer or diesel motor mechanic, which are on the Green List, so provide a pathway to residence. So that's where the small overlap does occur. And now, finally, there are those who have consecutive qualifications who can get time to the total time they spent studying all qualifications in New Zealand up to a maximum of 3 years. Now, this is where they will limit those, I said before, to obtain sort of the conjoint thing. It is pretty messy here in WD 3.1b3. It limits it to those who gained bachelor's followed by honours or postgraduate qualifications, so it won't apply to those with sort of consecutive lower level qualifications. This consecutive qualifications does just apply to those who have bachelor's and then things following the bachelor's degree. So sadly not for those of you who are studying at levels 4, 5 and 6 only. Now we're going to have a look now actually at the for those who are partners of the post-study work visa holders, and this is a big change in eligibility that came through in relatively recently. So from last week, partners of post-study work visas may be granted an open work visa themselves if the post-study work visa holder holds that visa due to completing a level 9 or 10 qualification, a qualification which appears on that that list, which I just had up here, but it's not there. Let's go. The qualifications eligible for a post-study work visa list. A qualification that was on the previous long-term skill shortage list or before September 7th, 2022. Or a qualification or a job that is on the Green List. The Green List being the list of jobs for the work to residence, straight to residence roles, not so much this Green List here. So For those of you who are coming to New Zealand or in New Zealand looking at a post-study, looking here currently to study, to get the post-study work visa afterwards, up until now, of course, your partner was often eligible for an open work visa to help you sort of cover costs. That has now been restricted as of last week. They'll be eligible for a visitor visa, so they can be in the country, but they will not be eligible for an open work visa unless it fits into one of those categories. Now, you'll all likely be familiar with the Accredited Employer Work Visa, with it being in place for a short period now, a few months. It's still having a number of teething issues, but it is improving. It could have been done a lot better, but it definitely is what's in place now, so we have to deal with what we've got. We've already covered the AWV in previous videos, so we're not going to go back to explain how that does work. We'll try and put a link to that in the description down below to one of our previous videos that does the breaks down the three-step process. However, one of the base requirements was the need for a pay of at least $27.76 per hour, being the median wage as determined by Stats New Zealand for June 2021. There has been some loosening of the requirements due to the fact that employers really just need staff, and that was not helping them find staff or secure staff. We already had an allowance for specific job types in tourism, construction, hospitality to be paid just $25 per hour for a short period. And those who are in the care workforce had to pay $25.39 per hour. Now, I did want to mention that the June 2022 figures, I said the June 2021 figures where we got the 2776 from, that's where Immigration New Zealand gets the figures. It's not a figure they choose. It does come from Statistics New Zealand as part of their June quarter stats. Now the June quarter stats this year came back with a wage increase of $1.90 up to $29.66 per hour. So typically we'd then expect this to come through as being the new median requirement at some point, typically at the end of the year or the start of the new year, so the end of this year or the start of 2023, which would be a really large jump of $1.90 per hour as a requirement to anyone who's applying for an AWV from that point going forward. Now, we would expect that the Minister may, as the Minister Farfoy did previously, delay that change until some point next year, as it is a substantial jump over the previous year. However, nothing has been confirmed yet. If they follow the usual process, then $29.66 will be the required minimum wage for new applications at some point in the near future, but we are going to wait and see as to where that's going to take place, what's going to happen. Now, we wanted to have a look here at the new exceptions coming through for the median wage requirements. As we mentioned, there was that allowance there for construction, hospitality, and the care workers, but that was never going to go far enough, being $25 an hour, but just for a year or so limitation before they're required to get up to the $27.76 or $29.66. Now, in October, these changes are going to be coming through, so that's just a few weeks away. We're going to touch on these quickly, but there'll be more detail released from Immigration New Zealand as to how this is going to work. At the moment, all we have really is what's in this page, which we will link to, of course, in the description down below. There is sector agreements for 5 different sectors. For those in the care workforce, which will be a lot of you, I know a lot of my clients are in that area. The base rate will be $26.16 per year for 2 years, which equates to pay level 3 on the scale that's often used by establishments. There will be a 12-month stand-down period after someone has had 2 years working at below pay level 4, meaning that you can't get another AWV at below that requirement. During that 12-month period, you have your 2-year period. You then have a 12-month period where you cannot apply for another AWV without raising that payment level. So if you are in these areas, you want to look at moving yourself up those pay levels as soon as you can before that 2-year allowance runs out. Now, this is going to be for new applications being made. All of these will be. Do not apply to the current visas you have. This will be for new application. When you apply for a new work visa, these will be the rules in place for the various sectors, unless, of course, you are earning the median wage, at which point then you're under the usual rules of 3 years. Now, the next one, of course, is construction. Certain jobs in construction will be able to start at just $25 per hour, and that will be increased each year to bring it to 90% of the median wage. So if it moves to $29.66, as we expect it will at some point in the next year, this will then move it up to $26.69 as being that 90% allowance. Now, similar to care, after 2 years working at below the median wage, there is a 12-month stand-down period where you cannot apply for another AEWV without being at the median wage or higher. Now, we've got meat processing, which allows for a 7-month AEWV visa, so 7-month visa at below the median, starting at just $24 per hour. But increasing yearly to 86% of the median. Now, this is for up to only 320 workers per year for 2 years, at which point it will be replaced with a Pacific program aimed at the Pacific Islands and bringing them in to work, much like we have currently with the seasonal fruit picking horticultural area. We then have, of course, seafood processing. Onshore seafood processors will have the same allowance as meat processing, so basically 7-month allowance. But with $600 per year for 2 years. Now, sea-based workers can get a 12-month visa with no stand-down period, so you can get a 12-monthly revolving visa. They must be at the minimum wage plus $4, increasing yearly each October to the median wage plus $5 in 2023, then $6 2024, and after that in 2025 it should be at the median wage at that point. Not the median wage now, but the median wage is going to be at that point probably $30-something per hour. And finally, the seasonal snow and adventure tourism. They will be able to get 7-month work visas starting at $25 an hour in October from next month, and then to 90% of the median wage in February 2023, 95% in February 2024, and then the median wage in February 2025. Now, applicants can get multiple visas, so 7 months each, but you basically get a visa, do a season, I suppose change from doing a snow season to doing something in the summer seasons, and adventure tourism, and then going back and forward. This had with the incomes going up just to meet those requirements as they increase each February. Now, partners of AEWV visas. At present, any partner of an AEWV visa can get a partnership work visa as long as the AEWV work visa is earning at least that median wage of $27.76 per hour. So those of you who are on perhaps one of the allowances for hospitality, construction, or the care workforce that you're below $27.76, you won't be able to support your partner to get a partnership work visa. But everyone else, if you're at that median or higher on an AEWV or essential skills, you'll be able to support your partner. So those who have from December, let's go to page 6. This is changing. Now, this is from a press release that was released by the government on rebalancing New Zealand's immigration system. Now, of course, this is coming in December, so we haven't got the rules yet, but in just a few months, only partners of AWV holders who are working in a role on the green list will be eligible for a partnership visa with work rights. Also, those who are partners of those who are earning at least double the median wage per hour. So if you are working in a role at or above $27.76 per hour currently, but not earning $52 per hour, which is double the median, and your job does not appear on the green list, or you don't meet the requirements of the green list, which are fairly strict requirements, then from December your partner will not be able to apply for an open work visa as your partner. They'll have to apply for a work visa based on their own employment. So they have to go and find a job where they're going to meet the requirements, whether it's the 2776 or the green list or whatever it's going to be. Now for some clarifications. For those of you who already hold a partnership work visa, this change does not impact you until you need to apply for a new work visa. Your current visa remains valid, though there are some changes coming that are going to impact you. We are going to talk about those in a few moments. Those of you, of course, who had visas that were expiring this year have had that 2-year extension, most likely. So you might be okay there. Definitely make sure you check that out. But yes, as I said, if you are having a visa that expires in the next few months or perhaps early or some point in next year, you may want to look at applying for a new partnership work visa before December, before these changes come through and possibly come through as a surprise. So get in contact with us if we can help you out with that. We also need to touch on, as I mentioned, on the big issue that is going to impact employers, many who don't see it coming. Now, up until now, accreditation under AWV has been for employers who are looking to hire migrants who would need a visa based on their employment. However, it is going to be extended to all migrants employees. So if you are hiring a post-study work visa holders, then you're going to need to be accredited. Partnership work visa holders, you'll need to be accredited. Students working their 20 hours per week while studying, you'll need to be accredited to employ them, and likely going to need to be accredited to hire working holiday visa holders. So for employers, accreditation is something that is so important to have done. We can assist you with that, with the documentation, how it's going to work, but definitely get it done before they suddenly surprise you with the fact that you're no longer able to hire those people who you currently already hire. Just thinking because they've got an open visa, you're fine to hire them. That is going to change. Now we're going to look here at working holiday visas. This is the final look we're going to look at today's video. Instructions have been released to add an extra year another extra year of places to all capped working holiday schemes. So for those who are from a country where there is no cap on the scheme, there's a few countries with that, such as the UK, this won't impact you. But for every other country with a capped number of spaces, the instructions now allow for that number again. So for example, for Croatia, which typically allows 100 young citizens, a further 100 will be allowed under this change. Now this is the same for the following countries, although the date that this is going to be impacting on, because of the way this works, will differ for several of them. So we've got Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Chile, China, Czech Republic, Estonia, Hong Kong, Hungary, Israel, South Korea, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Malta, Mexico, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, Uruguay, and Vietnam. These are all covered in the amendment circulars 49 and 50 from 2022, but the simple change is basically that that capped limit has now been doubled. And that is it for today. That covers most of the changes that are coming. That's covering them, but there's a lot of detail that I haven't gone through just because it's been a long enough video as it is. If we can assist you, please get in contact with us at advice@shlaw.co.nz or through our website, and one of our staff will be in touch. As always, if you found this video of use, please consider leaving a review through the link in the description. Liking the video, definitely share it around. Hopefully we can help more people out with all these changes that are coming through. And then until next time, kia kaha and stay safe.